Steve, I wasn't really going to tell anybody I was a cop, but thank you. Yeah, people get rubbed the wrong way when I show up and I say that I'm a cop, but I'm not a cop anymore. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that, bud. My buddy that I've never met him before outside of social media. He sends me this message. He's like, dude, I know this author who also rides bikes like yours. I'm like, Ducatis, say it. He's like, yeah, those. I'm like, no, bro, Ducatis. He says, yeah, his name's Steve Sims. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So he connects us, we meet, we're talking, and it's just bikes, right? I'm a dude. We were just talking about bikes. Like there's nothing, what else could we talk about? Like there's so many hours that can go by. We're talking about bikes and that's it. I get home, I told my wife, like, babe, I met this other guy. He has a Panigale V4R. It means nothing to you, everything to me. Panigale V, I said, he tracks a Panigale V4R. So my wife and I race Ducatis. And she's like all into the conversation. He does a Facebook Live with me. He's like, hey, mate, you want to do a Facebook Live? And I'm like, cool, whatever, we'll do a Facebook Live. I don't know why you want to be on my platform to do a Facebook Live. Why can't we? Right. Why can't we do it on yours? This is what I'm thinking. Because I'm still thinking we're just two dudes that have books, our brands all over our motorcycle, and we both race Ducatis. That's it, and we're both bald. But he comes on, he does the Facebook Live, we're going, and I think I've called him twice during like that time, just like you would normally call a person, like a regular person, right? And we talked, briefly, and then after the Facebook Live, my messenger blows up. You know Steve Sims? How do you know Steve Sims? Can you connect me with Steve Sims? I'm like, what is this? No, I don't, how do you know him? We both are authors and both race Ducatis. That's it? Yeah, that's it. So I text my buddy, Savannah Herod. I'm like, dude, like, who's Steve Sims? Like, what do you mean, who's Steve Sims? You know him for like a year now. Yeah, I know, but like, why is when I'm on somebody's Facebook Live, they don't get messages about who's Dom Faussette? Dom Faussette? No, the only person that thinks I'm cool is my mom and my niece. My niece is 10. She literally goes to school and tells her friends to Google me. She's like, because I'm on Fox and CBS and stuff. She's like, my uncle was on the news this morning. I go on the news like twice a year. But she tells them as though I go like all of the time. Anyways, we're doing our thing. And he's like, dude, and this is what he says to me. If you and your wife want to have dinner on a black sands beach with Whitney Houston at the time singing, he's the guy to connect that. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense, but it sounds so cool. Yeah, he does private parties at Louis Vuitton on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. He's friends, and he starts naming all these people. And I'm like, he never brought that up. I would have started with that at the time, but I've grown since then. So Steve, thank you I'm pointing to the bald guy. I'm like, thanks, Steve. I'm like, you got taller. You are slimmer. He had a camera in front of his mouth. I'm like, that's nuts. Right. I'm like, because normally I see Steve here, but my eyes had to go up. I'm like, what are you eating? Donuts. They make you grow. Anyways, that's a great sales campaign. We're going to talk about becoming the obvious choice. We're going to talk about command presence. I'm an ex-cop and prior military, and I'm a little boisterous. You know what's funny? When you get excited about something, some people can handle you, most people can not. I don't know about all of you, but by show of hands, who's in a relationship, you live with your partner, married, nobody, just me. Okay, half of you, not too excited about that. But all right, here we are. I started being this speaker and author and all these things. And I'm an executive coach. That's what I do. Everything else is to bring the business back to executive coaching. And my wife and I had not lived together. So we get married, and she's a corporate executive, and I'm a corporate executive at the time, but I have this side hustle where I'm traveling and speaking, and we're standing in the French Polynesian islands. Sounds way cooler because we couldn't afford Tahiti, so we stayed in Moorea, and we're standing on this overwater bungalow, and she mentioned something about work, and immediately I've got the answer. Why? Because I'm Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. Honey, this is what you do. She turns around, mind you, she's a collegiate athlete. She races Ducatis. Tough chick. Back and forth between here and Mexico because Dad was doing some things in Amway. But she stands up, says, you may not ever executive coach me or leadership speak me. I'm your wife, not your client. Like, I didn't know what to say, so I just did an about face, and I dove into the clear blue ocean. And I'm underwater, and I'm like, did I just get punked by my wife in the French Polynesian Islands? So we've had a great 7 years. I know my place now, but I do that with everybody else. You know, becoming the obvious choice is one of those things that I learned on a call when I was a cop. I walk through a door, I get out of my car, walk through the door, I hear yell. So I'm like the house was this big. No, it was like this, literally the size of this room. Husband and wife, I think, going at it, just arguing, and all like the big words. I'm not a good cursor. I don't think that's how you say it, so I don't do it. But they were using the words like very well together. They've done this before. And he's calling her all kind of names and back and forth. And I open the door, and this dude's big, like your height, but ripped. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have to use some negotiations verbally. There's nothing here that could do anything with that guy. And I walked in, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave them be. So I go to the refrigerator, I open the door, I saw a high C, I grabbed a high C. There's a grown man, yes, you can imagine, they're little, like little talons around it. Right, exactly, just you know, it's weird. And I sat on the sofa, and they looked at me, what are you doing? I said, well, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. So what are we all supposed to do? But what it did, it didn't register with them. It wasn't normal for them. And I'm like, this is a thing. I hope every house has a high C because that fruit punch was delicious. So becoming the obvious choice. All of you are business owners. And sometimes we get siloed into, I'm this kind of business owner. This is what I do. This is how it's done. This is how it's been done. This is how, but why? The goal is to bring attention to you and your business. So as Steve said, I have a radio show, not a podcast. I just started a new radio show today called The American Dream Impactor Show on 960 The Patriot KKNT. But that's the show that I have today. And then I have a TV show. It's dreams, and it's not as cool as it sounds. But the goal when you go places is to be the coolest individual in the room. We all, I'm sure, have different titles. Like I'm an executive coach, leadership speaker, motivational speaker, TV, like all these things. You got to pick the one that makes everybody say, I want to know you. They're not going to say it to your face. If they did, that's weird. But internally, they're going to say it. You want to make people say, who is this guy? Who is this gal? I need to know them. Now, I don't know what circles you're in. I'm 44. And no matter what circle I'm in, whether I'm in a crowd speaking and they're in their 20s, or I'm in a crowd speaking and I think people around stop going to events around 50 something. So 50s, they always go back to Instagram. Trust but verify, correct? So right before you go anywhere, and hopefully everybody's on Instagram, hopefully all of you post as often, no, I say as you can, daily, or you have a company that does it for you. But right before I go to an event, I make sure all of my posts are engaging. Not engagement, but they provide the cool factor. So there's pictures of me and my wife racing Ducatis. There's me on stage. There's me on CBS and NBC and Fox. There's all these different things. You're giving people options to say, I want to work with that guy. I want to work with that gal. Whether it be a podcast. So going to events, I had a client who was a videographer. He said, I'm going to this event for videographers. I'm like, you're an idiot. Why would you go to an event? You're not going to get clients that way. I said, bro, I'm old. All the events I go to, it would look like this. Like we all graduated around the same time frame. We all like some of the same things, not our kids, but we all do a lot of different things. But we're all about in the same circle. But none of us, for the most part, from what I'm gathering, are great videographers. I'm like, dude, come with me to this old person's event. Everybody's got some coin, and I'll get you some clients. He's like, I don't really know, I can't. I'm like, bro, I'll pay your way, let's go. So we go to this event that I'm going to, and he made 30 grand that day. His price points were low. He's like, yeah, this is the average, this is the industry standard. What? That's garbage, an industry standard. In your business, are there things that and this is rhetorical, are there things that you're doing? Are there character traits that you exude? Are there things that you've done that are maybe industry standards? I'm going to say yes. But have you thought about the space of, how do I become the obvious choice? Maybe not in those words, Don't raise your hands, but how many of you think of social media and think to yourself, I just don't have time? Everybody 30 and above says that. My husband, I don't really like him that much on Wednesdays, and then my kids, and then I got to go to work, and then I got to do accounting, and then I'm about to fire this employee, but I don't know if I'm fired because I'm not going to trust the next person that's going to come in, and then I got to drive, and then I got to take my car to the shop, and there's all these things. Oh, you want me to do what? Post? I'm going to hire a company, they start posting, and then I don't like the posts that they're doing because the words that they're using, that's not how I talk. Okay, this is what I tell. When it comes to Instagram, like there's two places that you're usually on your phone. On the toilet, at stoplight. I'm not lying. I know I'm not. That's when you post. Why would you look at somebody else's post when you could be the post that other people look at? You don't make money looking at Instagram. Inadvertently, you can make money posting on any social media platform. I don't get paid to look at posts. Now, there's some things that I like to look at, motorcycles and Frenchies, like, and food. I can, for some reason, I'll take a 10-second cake making video, and an hour later, I'm like, I could do this. I just got an air fryer. I got this in the bag. 3 trips to the grocery store like it's Home Depot, and I don't have it. So I stay in my lane. But why in the world would you look at somebody else's posts when you can spend a couple minutes posting your own? Why would you waste your time on your couch looking at social media when you can just do a quick little reel? I don't like the way I sound. Well, that's how you sound to everybody. Like, you're not going to change how you sound. Like, if you sound like him, I haven't heard you talk, I'm going to err on assumption that you don't sound like him, right? It would be weird if you sound like her, it's a new day. But you, hey, see what I did there? I don't know how you identify. But see, you can pick on a big guy because he's not going to get offended because at the end of the day, he knows he could just do that to the top of my head and I might still have a soft spot. So, it's totally fine. Right. Hold on, you ride too?
I'm going to.
Yes. Steve, did you sell him on riding a motorcycle? That is amazing. You ride?
He did.
That is amazing. You guys are awesome. I like that. But becoming the obvious choice. Look at it like this. I could have written these titles here and here and here because that's normal, right? But we're not using all the space that we have access to. You're not using all of the space in your business that you have access to. You don't know what opportunities are going to come by way of you actually putting in the work and engage and being the obvious choice on social media. Not to brag, maybe a little bit. So I do a lot of videos. This company, I'm recording, I can edit this out. This company called CarShield, which I had never heard of before. Apparently it's insurance for people that wouldn't live in a house like this. We'll start there. And they reach out to me, have me sign this long NDA. I didn't read none of it. I'm like, sign this thing and going about my business. Long story short, they're like, hey, we like the videos that you do. Do you have the capacity or the bandwidth to do 2 to 3 videos a week? And we'll pay you. And they're giving like a call center manager salary, like a decent salary. I'm thinking Ducati parts. But I'm like, yeah, that's good. I text my wife. She's like, hey, I just signed this contract for this company. They want me to be the face of and the voice of their brand on social media. She's like, oh, did you give that to an agent? I don't have agents. No. So how'd you get it? My videos. And she says, your videos? I'm like, oh, okay, well, I need to go back to my niece because she thinks I'm cool. But opportunities come because, what does Steve say? Somebody thinks you're a celebrity. I don't think 80-something thousand followers are a lot, but there's a lot of people that do. And this is how Instagram works, or any social media platform becoming the obvious choice. You walk into an event and they see your face on some of the stuff that's out, not the billboards, but the little pamphlets. They're like, okay, I don't know him, right? And they do the thing. And then you might be talked to a couple people and then you exchange, hey, let's, Instagram, we connect, boom, boom, boom. And then this is what happens. Like they're walking away and this is exactly what they do. I know they're looking at their phone and they'll stop. And by this time, I have turned around by now to not make it awkward, and they look. And then the next time I see them, hey, Dom, I was wondering, I bet you were. Here's the invoice, right? I bet you were wondering. That's the power of social media. That's the power of all of you could have a TV show. All of you could have a radio show. Would having a radio show and having a TV show, when you're introduced and somebody says, oh, this so-and-so, he's got a TV show, and that person starts talking to you, don't you think that'll be the cool factor of the environment? Oh, you're on TV. So what do you talk about? Well, I have a practice, and we do A, B, and C. They're listening because in their eyes, we all grew up watching TV, right? Only reason why I became a cop because of Chips, right? Only reason why I wear cowboy boots is because of Chuck Norris. Oh, everybody, you got cowboy boots? Yes, he's the only reason why I'm this tall. Right? Only reason why I joined the military is because of Rambo, but they don't issue bow and arrows, apparently. So go with me on this one. Right, those they issue. Yes, those and they work. Yes, we're cutting steak, human steak. But that was weird. It got dark real quick. Becoming the obvious choice. Now, as you get to the space of becoming the obvious choice, you have to let go of your title. My age group and titles, I'm Dr. So-and-so. Oh, are you? You sound boring. I have clients that are doctors. I have 2 friends that are doctors. I'm like, you guys are like, the only reason why we're friends is because we grew up together. Other than that, you guys are, let go of the title. And then they get all, you guys know stuffy people. Our age group, we know stuffy. Smile, buddy, it's okay. There it is. Great smile, by the way. That was not like a thing that just happened there. I just complimented the guy's smile, okay? I'm just letting him know. He stopped smiling. But as you become... Here, yes, sir. Oh, yeah, you got hair. I'm jealous. But as you continue to become the obvious choice, guess what happens? You start building a brand. So people say, oh, you're a speaker. No, I'm a business owner, and one of my lanes or my streams of income is speaking. Another one is paid advertisement. Another one is, it's weird to say acting, but that's exactly what it is, right? Another one is TV show. And then when you do your podcast, when you do your own radio show, so it costs me what, $2,000 a month to do radio? But when I walk into the room, like our age group, WKRP, right? We all remember that. When somebody says radio show host, automatically you give them credibility. He's got to be smart. Like he's got to know this is what you think. He's got to know what he's talking about. He's a radio show host. I don't. You say what?
Everyone's got a website.
Right. Everybody's got a website. Everybody's a podcaster. So I love going to podcasting. So what do you do, Dom, in the back? Sir, what do you do? I'm a radio show host. And I say it with a lot of bravado, like almost like I'm talking down to podcasters. Like I'm the reason they're podcasting. But that's what saying, becoming the obvious choice. That's what saying radio show host does. People are like, do people listen to radio? I don't know. I've never listened to my show. For what? I don't even know what comes out of my mouth. I'm almost afraid to listen to my show, but I know other people listen to it. Now you have radio show, TV show. You're an author. Don't throw things. This is not a comedy club. I'm messing with you. But now you have all these sources that add credibility to your brand. And then guess what happens when you have this brand and you have become the obvious choice? You started getting invited to stuff. I went to a Ferrari party, couldn't afford a car in the space. Not like on the grass, but it was cool. And then I get invited to all these little swank little things, and my wife is hot, so I bring her, so it makes me not look like a douchebag. Oh, he's a radio show, so, he rides Ducatis. He's got a wife. Oh, he's a nice guy. Right? Automatically. And now that I'm there, so what do you do? Because that's how people talk at these places. I'm a radio show host. Oh, are you? I don't talk like that, but they do. And automatically, we're the same. Why? Because people think that it takes confidence and you have to be very comfortable with yourself to be able to do something like that. Money doesn't buy confidence. Money doesn't buy comfortability in self. Money doesn't buy happiness. So when I'm around these yahoos, and I'm the life of the party. I don't drink, but, within my comfortable vein self in that moment, they're like, this guy's a radio show host. Now I can bring this guy who I would have never had access to my platform. And now guess what? When he's on my platform, I got this great guy, Dom. And your name is, sir? Jake. My brother's name is Jake, and we call him Jake. He's like 3 inches taller than me, so yeah, it just works out that way. I got this great guy, Jake. He's got this radio show. Bro, you got to meet him. What are you doing next Sunday? Me and some buddies, we're going to California. Are you free? You guys drive it? No, we got a jet. Yeah, I'm in, right? I don't know where we're going, but I'll hop on, right? I'm in. And now so what do? everybody here, for the most part, is a chiropractor. Everybody needs a, right. Everybody's got a body, the bones, the body, the crack, the things, right? You guys do the thing. I guarantee you nobody on that jet is a chiropractor. Now, have you just opened up somebody else's Rolodex now that you have access to, all because you have become the obvious choice? Was it worth $1,500 a month for a year, being on radio, adding credibility to your brand and yourself and adding value to others? Yes. It's really that easy. And what's crazy, from the age of 5 to 19, I stuttered. I could never introduce myself. You stuttered too? Well, nothing stunted your growth. Apparently stuttering stunted my growth. Like did your friends and your family finish your sentences for you? Yeah. Like all of the time. He's not retarded.
He means to say that.
Right, exactly. My dad, he's not retarded. He just has a speech issue. I'm like, the two aren't even the same. Yes, I do retarded things. I'm a child in the 80s. We don't have health insurance or TV. I have a roof. I have a ramp. Like, it all makes sense to me. But anyways, you say, all you guys just went back to your childhood, right? So when you become the obvious choice, you don't have to say anything when you walk in a room. At all. Like, oh, that's Dom. Dom, come up front. Or that's Jake. Jake, come up front. You want to get up front. You want to get invited to things where nobody does what you do. Does it take work? The answer to that question is, heck yes, it does. It takes a lot of work. But, so I don't watch TV, not because of anything else outside of, I'm excited of like, what can I build? What can I create? Created a book, right? So this is how I got on Fox and NBC. I would watch the news for the purpose of the end. I look for the executive producer. The executive producer is usually a female. And the executive producer that's a female is usually not valued as much as the anchors, so the talent. They're always running around. They're always getting told to do stuff. I find the name, as long as it's like Jane Smith. Like, I find the name on Instagram. I follow them. Oh, Dom, he's 80, so many thousand followers. Great, I'll follow you back. Occasionally, I'll like a picture, because they don't post that often, and I'll put a comment, nothing weird, something that matches what they're talking about. And it's usually with their kids or their family, something like that. And then I'll do that for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And then one random Wednesday, I slide into their DM. I really love the fact that you're doing so much work. I don't do what you do, but I see people that do what you do, and I watch some of the news segments. You're doing a fantastic job. What have I just done? You know when you get a dog comes to your house, walks inside your bedroom in the morning. I don't let dogs in my bed. All of a sudden you got your dogs in your bed. You're rubbing their little ears. That's what you've done. You've rubbed their little ears. Now they're a fan of yours. Why? Because you validated them. And then a month goes by. They don't ask you what you do. And then they ask, eventually they're going to ask, what do you do? If it's not in your bio. But people don't like to read, even if it is in your bio. Well, this is where you got to get your elevator pitch, right? If you're a radio show host and a chiropractor, do you think that if you start with, I'm a radio show host, that executive producer of, let's say, Good Morning Arizona will be comfortable with you coming on live TV to do an interview? Right. So now you've already done the radio. Now you've become the obvious choice. Now you slide into somebody's DMs, not like go with me on this one. Not just anybody, but the executive producer. You're in there. And now you don't have to pay $15,000 to a PR just for 3 minutes of conversation on air. Then you do well, and then you start meeting the other anchors, and they're like, yeah, bring Dom back. Or they reach out to you when they can't find anybody. And now you don't have to pay a PR company. But you better know what you're talking about when you get on air. Because when you get on air, how many of you have been interviewed on the news? Do you remember the first time you did it? Like, were any of you nervous the first time you got interviewed on the news? I know I was. I got there an hour early. I don't know, my lips went back in the back of my head, and my mouth got dry. They're like, don't worry about it. Take your time. Here's the green room, right? We're happy that you're here. You're not hearing anything. All you're waiting to hear is when you go on. And then by the time you get on, they give you they They give you one of these and they spin you around. And if you're a woman, they're spinning you like 2 or 3 times and they put the thing on your back. Just sit here. And then you get in front of the anchor and they got all the makeup. They're so pretty. You're like the female peacock and they're like the male peacock. But you're both on the same camera. And they're like, we'll be ready about 15 seconds? 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1, 15 seconds. Good morning, right? And you're nervous and everything you prepped for, you're poised in your best shirt, your best blouse, your best skirt, whatever you have, your best watch is clean, right? You let somebody hold your phone to take pictures. You take pictures while I'm on the news. You do the thing, right? And then all of a sudden, so, Jake, thank you very much for coming in. Tell us what it is that you do. That's the first time that you're on. It happens to everybody. Let's talk about how to avoid that. Videos. Every single video I do. Welcome to Think, React, Lead. My name is Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. I've done that over 5,000 times. I was at MotoGP in Austin, like when I first started this whole social media thing. My wife and I got married on our Ducatis. Our license plates say power couple. Oh, that's awesome. I know. But remove my wife, right? Douchebag, right? You see how that works? Hot chick, he's a loving husband, right? Our license plates say power couple. I had a red one. She had a white one. We've wrapped them since because I like branding and I need everybody to see my Instagram handles, my books, my titles, my website, all that stuff. But power couple, we're just riding our little Ducatis. But anyways, we get to Ducati Island, which is MotoGP, Austin, first time there. And all these bikes and our license plates stand out like a sore thumb. And this guy comes running across. He's a Ducati owner as well. He says, "Hey, you're Dom Faussette, the executive coach and leadership speaker." So I had only been doing this for a year. And when I'm out of my space, I'm just a regular dude. I'm an ex-cop, prior military. I don't like people running up on me. So this guy comes running up like not even a brisk walk, and he's pointing. And I didn't know what he said. That was hindsight. And I'm seeing this. So I grew up in the hood. 5 of my best friends died before I hit 9th grade. I carry, not now. But I promise you, I'm not carrying. Everybody's like, blink, relax, right?
Breathe.
And then kicking in doors was very fun for me. So this guy's running up, and I got my wife. And he's about by that door, and I posture up, and I'm an ex-kickboxer, and I'm ready to round. He'll kick his chin, and he's coming up, and my wife says, "Honey," because she touched my shoulder. She feels everything tense up. He knows she's from social media. You know what? I am on social media. I forgot. It happens. So now he comes running, and and I'm not a toucher. I've learned to be, because I've worked on some things. No, I'm still working on them. But you see how I tried to clean that up? I don't even like to lie, but I almost lied there. And he's like, "You're dumb." He comes in boom, and hugs me, and "Your videos changed my life." I'm like, I don't remember doing them, but I do them all the time. I just don't remember what I said. Now, 5 years later, we're still friends. But he knows my intro because he watches all of my videos. Brand building, becoming the obvious choice. I didn't have to introduce myself to him. You see how you see how repetition helps that? I want you to raise your hands. How many of you cringe at the thought of doing videos? Dudes in the back, I know you guys cringe. I know you cringe. Everybody does it. Why? Because when I was 19, I had abs, hair. I was taller. In my head, I was taller. But I don't look the same way that I did when I thought I was my best. I was an a-hole. I was not my best, right? I was the darkest, and I was just a horrible person at that 22. But you know what? What you don't like on camera, they see at Sprouts. What you don't like how you look on camera, everybody sees you. We don't have filters yet that we can use while we're walking around. You say, yeah, I don't know, it might happen. I could use a taller filter. But you know what? You are who you are. Get comfortable with who you are. And if you're not comfortable with who you are, I don't know, get a shrink They're great. I've had a couple BMVA. You just get them for free. They issue them like mints. Hey, you want to shrink? You want to shrink? That's just how it works. But find a way to get comfortable with yourself. And who by show of hands, I can just look. You don't show your hands. Doesn't like the sound of their voice. I'm going to tell you why. When you talk, you hear your voice from the inside. So when you hear the recording of your voice, you hear the recording of your voice on the outside. That's why there's a disparity between the two. Nobody hears how you sound on the inside. Everybody hears how you sound on the outside. So if you don't like your outside voice, there's nothing you could do about that. That is how you sound. Now, you can change the way that you talk wherever you go and talk like this if you would like. As my son says, Daddy, when we get out of the car, can you not do your radio voice? I'm like, son, look, I promise I won't do my radio voice when we get outside. Michael, today we're going to go down to Whole Foods and grab 3 apples, 3 bananas, and I make him stand on one side of the produce department, and I go, just stay right here by the cart. Michael, can you grab 2 asparagus, please? Dad, don't do that. I like having fun. You can throw your voice if you want, but that gets draining after a while, unless it's rehearsed, it's repetitive, right? I don't like the fact that I just wake up, good morning, honey, how are you? I don't like that I sound like Mr. Rogers on steroids in the morning. I don't, but that's because I do it so often, that is just how I sound. And your videos, start doing them. Know your intro. I say, welcome to Think, React, Lead. Think, React, Lead. Think, React, Lead is the name of my company. I'm welcoming you into my company. My name is Dom Faussette, right? Dom is what I go by, Faussette. Don't call me Dominic. My mother does, and you'll see my face change. Every now and then, I have a cousin named Dominic. You're Dominic? No, it's Dom. Get real serious. But you give them your name. Welcome to Think, React, Lead, Dom Faussette. And your title. So don't just say chiropractor like that. You guys got to come up with something special. And you figure that out. It's too many. My brain's doing this Rain Man thing, trying to give everybody, I'm not going to do that. Shut it down. Thank you. So when you do that every single time, now when you're at an event, no phones, no cameras, no nothing, and somebody asks what you do, I'm Dom Faussette. I'm an executive coach and leadership speaker. I have a company called Think, React, Lead. You don't do this. I'm a chiropractor. That's not what you do. Why? Because you've heard yourself say the thing 1,000 times, 2,000 times.
So if I say I'm a cracker, that won't work?
Maybe nope, never. Nope. You know what? It would work, actually.
When I practiced in Oakland, I had a rapper. He said, "You are no longer Dr. Hanson. You're the cracker."
You probably could have used it when he brought that to you. I don't know if now would be the best time.
Never run with it.
No, don't even walk with it. Don't even low crawl with it. I would not. Try it at home on Christmas first and see how that works out. Are you married? You have a wife? Wife? Yeah. Ask her. Whatever she says, don't. Okay. It's a hard no. Right? It is a hard no. See, ladies, as we've been married for longer than a day, we know in our heads. So let me explain something to you. You know this already, but let me just reiterate it. We're about 15 on a good day.
Yes, Corey.
On a good day. If you saw what goes through our head, you would not be attracted. There'd be nothing about us you would like. I am 44. You guys see what I look like. I walk into the skate park with my skateboards, not with my, I skate. And my wife's like, honey, you got to preface your presence there with something. You can't be just this grown man with no kids with you at a skate park. And I started looking around, because I'm talking to the kids. They're like 12. I'm like, bro, I got a Sector 9. It's got ABEC 11 wheels. I got 8 skateboards. And they're like, you can't just walk up to somebody's child and start talking. I'm like, yes, I can. We both got skateboards. Yeah, but I don't know. You could get 5 to 10. It's optics. I'm like, I forgot I'm Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker with Think, React, Lead. Sometimes I forget, folks, ladies, understand, we're not that bright. We play bright in life, sometimes on podcast, radio, and TV, but we're really not that bright. So, becoming the obvious choice. Let's talk about command presence. I've kicked in a lot of doors as a cop. And there's this thing, this is where I got this from. When you kick in a door, so typically 2 Alpha 5, go ahead dispatch. We need you to serve a warrant at such and such house, such and such lane. All right, cool. How many occupants? We're showing 3. I got to ask my chest. I got this all by myself. All right, so I get to the house, get out. I park somewhere in the back. I jump over the fence because I'm, when you're a cop, it's like hide and seek on steroids. That's really all it's about. And I have all these things. I got SWAT, like the old SWAT, not the new one. I got like Hawaii Five-0. I got all the Rambo. I've got definitely Delta Force playing in my head at this time. And I got all the stuff. Like Aspeton, this. I have all of the things, right? I'm like a little action figure, except I move. And I'm not much taller than what you buy in the store. But I get to the front door, I kick it in. When I kick in the front door, there's never 3 people. There's always more than what dispatch says. So now there's 5 people looking at me. I'm looking at them. I see 10 eyes. And I'm like, I got 11 in, I got 1 in the chamber, that's 11, okay. And these are all the things that are running through your head. And guess what I can't do? I can't say, hey, everybody in the back, I need you to understand. So we're just going to stop pause. Can we pause? I'll be right back. Let me go grab some friends. Like, that is not how that works in that moment. You have to immediately make a decision. So it's called cover and concealment. You can't take anybody out because usually there's no weapons right in plain sight that they have in their hands. So you cover, conceal, or command presence. You knock out the biggest dude as quick as you can. And then you establish dominance in that room. Now, how does that correlate to being a chiropractor? Here's how. You do the exact same thing. I'm kidding. You show up with command presence, being the obvious choice. So command presence comes down to what you wear. Every time I speak, I wear cowboy boots for 2 reasons. 1, it makes me taller. Literally, it actually makes me taller. And most people, for some strange reason, are surprised to see a black guy in cowboy boots. I don't know why, because a lot of people in the South wear cowboy boots, but it's a thing. And guess what it does? It disallows people to put me into a stereotypical box. It doesn't register. They're like, this brother got a buckle? Okay, he is the sidekick to Chuck Norris. Nope, that's not him. He is the one black country singer that, nope, it's not him. Then who could it be? He can't be anybody else. No, I can. Like, it's okay if we buy buckles. But they go through this checklist. He doesn't rap, obviously. He's not a model, obviously. He's not an actor. Man. And then they start to listen. Because they can't put me into a box. Do you notice when you put somebody in a box, guess what? You tune them out, don't you? Like, I already know what you're about. I don't need to listen to you. So, you command presence by being opposite of your race, your gender, your ethnicity, your height. Right? There's so many things that come into play with that. And you make them listen so now they can take the information, and after they retain the information, they can place you in their box. Usually the box ends up being in a space that is for special people because you're different. How are you showing up different? How many of you have gotten invites to networking events and you say to yourself, I am just too tired to go? Every networking event I ever get an invite for after 3 o'clock. Like at noon, it sounds fantastic. And they're never at 3. They're like at 6:30 is the start time. You're like, you want to go to a networking event? Yeah, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll go. Hey, I'm just following up with you about the networking event. It's 2:45. You want to go? Whew, bedtime is 8. No, I'm not going to go. That's when you go. Doing the crap when you're tired. Because right now, I'm going to err on assumption and just say, I want to say all of you, majority of you are doing the exact same thing day in and day. Every Monday you do this, every Tuesday you do this. You have the same clients. Some of you guys don't like the clients that you have. And you're like, oh, here comes Miss Johnson. And she's coming, okay, we got to, hey, how are you, Miss Johnson? It's lovely to hear about your ugly grandkids, But you do the thing. Well, you can change that. The clients that we get is because that's what we attract. If you don't like the people that you're attracting, then there's some parts of you that you just don't like. And the only reason why you don't like those parts of you is because you haven't really taken time to get to know them. The reason why you don't like the sound of your voice is because you haven't used it enough. The reason that you don't like the way that you look is because you haven't seen yourself on video enough. right? I had this client, she's like, hey, Dom, here's my, 'cause I have all my clients do videos. Here's my video. I'm like, Claudia, the phone. No matter where the phone goes, we all see the two chins. Like, stop doing two chin stuff and it won't be on video, right? She's like, is that why? That's exactly, you think it goes away the more I do this. It doesn't go away, it'd be like a seagull, mine, right? It does the thing. No, just be comfortable with who you are. If you got two chins on video, you're gonna have them at Whole Foods. You're gonna have them at a PTA conference. Right, all of the technology that you have right now, your laptop and your phone, as Steve was talking about, you have everything you need to become the obvious choice. And then to command presence. I had a guy years ago when I first started speaking. Actually, it was my first out-of-town speaking, non-corporate speaking event. And he's like, I introduced you to so-and-so, I want you to come here. All I knew was Tony Robbins. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I got 5 weeks. I need to step and repeat. I got to wrap my Ducati. I got to wrap my truck. I showed up with the stuff. Step and repeat. The motorcycle in front of the step and repeat so people could sit on. So when they take pictures, my Instagram handles all on everything. I show up. I was wearing suits then because I didn't know. I just thought that's what all black speakers wore. They wore suits, and which they do. I don't. And all the stuff. And I get there, I'm like, where's everybody's stuff? They're like, what? No, you just get on stage and speak. And one dude said, if this is what you're doing for your first event, you're going to go far. But one thing I want you to do, because you're going to get a lot of people approach you to speak on their stages, just be cool. And it didn't hit me until years later. But that phrase, just be cool. I've never asked Steve if I could speak at a speakeasy. Never. Just cool. I mean, as cool as I can be. I'm like a nerdy little guy. Like, I don't wear jerseys because it makes me look like a Make-A-Wish Foundation kid. Like, I'm like that kind of nerdy, right? But just be cool. I don't reach out to people. Can I do this? Can I do that? No, I just be the coolest guy in the room. You heard the motorcycle when I pulled up. Like, that was intense. So that was as quiet as I could have got it. So my apologies, ma'am. But it's a loud bike. But then when I walk into, everything's intentional. You know what? I woke up this morning. I totaled my Jeep a couple weeks ago, Jeeping. My Porsche wouldn't start this morning, and my wife took the Tesla. So I didn't have anything else I could do but take the bike. But anyways, here, I always catch myself when I'm about to tell a story that's not real. I'm like, that's not why you brought it. You brought it because that's all you had at the moment. But I came in, the jacket, the things, the stuff. Who's this guy? But had I not been as cool as I am, I'm thinking I'm cool during this talk, it still would have stayed in your head, he's a douchebag. Right? Yeah, because you thought that. I know you did. I know you did. This guy with the not smiling, the big leather red jacket. What do you think, Power Rangers? Yes, I do. Yes, sometimes I do. But my wife does that. Anyways. So to become the obvious choice, all of this requires work. I didn't start the entrepreneurial thing. I was a corporate guy. I was making 145 plus bonus. I had the wife at the time. Well, not the time. She's the same, at this time, same person. I always mess that up. You think as a speaker, I got this licked. I don't. But I had the wife. We had the bikes. We had the things. We had corporate jobs. I'm good. But I wanted to give back to people. So I started doing videos on social media. Why? Because my employees wouldn't stay off their freaking phones. So you know what? I can pummel you to death, which I can't because I don't have a badge anymore. So I would go to jail. Or I could just meet you where you're at. So I would do leadership videos. If you don't know what to talk about, John Maxwell's book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Do one law every day. 21 days later, only 3 people saw the first video anyway. You recycle the video. Now you get 6 people watching it, right? Don't ever be the person. Did you see the video that I did? Nope, nobody saw it, right? Not at all. Right? Only my mom and my niece sees my videos. Occasionally, a couple hundred other people, right? Only when I do Facebook ads. But when you show up doing that, and I started doing all the videos, and then my employees, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know you were a cop. Because there's parts of our past we don't want. I know I want to hide. I was a horrible cop. You give a 22-year-old kickboxer a badge who grew up watching Delta Force, everybody's going to be a horrible cop, right? I mean, let's just call it, I think I can take that guy out. Nope, can't take him out. All right, we're going to go to the gym and work on some things. I didn't know that's how you you and your whole family live on the same block. All my employees got to know me because I was doing 60-second videos. Hey, welcome to Think React Lead. My name is Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. Today, we're going to talk about how to become the obvious choice. 3 things you want to do. If you're not got a podcast, that's one way. The other way is to show up every day the same person. And the third thing you can do is find a way to have fun. People like people that have fun. Again, I'm Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. Have a fantastic day. That's about 38 to 45 seconds. But you do those over and over again, or as my grandmother would say, otra vez, otra vez, otra vez. And then people get to know you. Oh, I didn't know you were Portuguese and Puerto Rican. I know, because you're not traveled. That's not what I meant to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That came out wrong. But now your employees get to know you, and then you do that every day. I did it for like 2 years. And they're like, you should write a book. I graduated with a 2.0. Really? Okay, you were a straight A student. You and my wife are like, oh, how did you graduate? Very carefully. Very carefully. My wife has 2 masters. I'm like, 2? Why? One in forensic psychology and one in finance. Why would you do that to yourself? Anyways, I digress. But they would get to know me more. And the more my employees got to know me, the more they trusted me. And the more my employees got to trust me, they would come to me with their personal problems. One of my employees, her husband, when she would come home late, would take a mini blowtorch to her inner thigh. And for every minute she was late, he would do it for that amount of seconds. 3 minutes late, 3 seconds. And I would wonder, why? It's over. You get paid to be here. It's overtime. Everybody loves overtime. You get time and a half. You're going to have fun. And we're going to have what? Pizza. Because every adult loves pizza. But I didn't know. And it took 6 months for her to get comfortable talking to me. She started watching my videos and saw me outside of the leader that I was in the space that I was in. She saw me as a human. In her world, I became the obvious choice. I saved her because I was able to take a skill set that I learned in law enforcement to see her for who she was, not judge her. But the way I learned not to judge is I make this is what I do. The 5 closest people to you should not act like you, look like you, think like you, believe like you, or sound like you. If everybody I hung around was wannabe 6 foot tall, black ex-cop, ex-military, our stories get a little dark. I would not be here talking to you. So I learned to get comfortable with people that I wasn't grown up to be comfortable with. I make sure that I diversify my associations. Why? Because I might have an employee or a staff member who is nowhere in my scope of people that I'm comfortable with, but now I get to know culturally what makes her tweak, what makes her move, what drives her, what drives him. So if the 5 people closest to you act like you, look like you, think like you, believe like you, and sound like you, you'll never grow. And the goal daily is to grow. So now that you're growing, now that you're associating with different people, going back to the private jet, remember we were talking about that? Now you're around people that are not like you, and you're able to learn and not judge. And now when you're not judging people, you don't get mad when the 28-year-old cashier at McDonald's messes up your order. Let me explain something to you. You're 28 at McDonald's, somewhere like that was not part of your career path. And why are you there anyway? Let's just, that's a whole nother story. I'm sure there's somebody here that already spoke about being fit. It ain't gonna be me. Let's just go with that. But why would you get mad over food? Maybe you have some things to work on. Why would you get mad if somebody cuts you off? I remember as a cop, this guy cuts me off. I'm in my patrol car, just left guard mount. Cuts me off. What? Cut me off? Do you not see this black and white? Do you not see what I'm like a month and a half in. Woo! Pulled him over. Sir, you guys already know what I said. Do you know why I pulled you over? The stupidest question, that's a rookie question. Don't say it's a rookie question if you ever get pulled over and that question comes out the cop's mouth. Just, in my opinion, it is, or it was. He says to me, I just got a call from the doctor or from the hospital. My daughter's about to get taken off life support. That changed quick, didn't it? See how that just went down? Let's just bring it back up. So I escorted him as fast as I could to the hospital. But from that day forward, anytime somebody cut me off, I don't know. He could be rushing to the hospital because he got a phone call that his daughter's being taken off life support. See, we don't know what people are going through. Ever. Oftentimes, we don't even pay attention to what we're going through. So why would we judge? If our focus is just to become the obvious choice and command presence and have a greater engagement with humans, and now we can focus on being a better person for ourselves, being a better person for the people around us. Think, react, lead is think as an executive, react like a soldier, and lead. And what I mean by that is think at a very high level for a while. And then bring that react like a soldier. It's very immediate. It's explosive. It's not overanalyzing. You're in, you're out. You're dialed in, you're running and gunning. And lead. Leadership is influence. Who are you going to influence today? How dare I go into the Circle K and throw my money on the counter to this 35-year-old man who's sitting back here, and that's his job. He risks getting mugged, robbed. This wasn't a life choice. He may have made some bad life choices, but no, I'm going to respect that individual. Why? Just because it's the right thing to do. One, two, that could be the gatekeeper to your next $1 million. It's becoming the obvious choice, not just for you, but for those around you. I don't get mad or angry anymore. For what? That's a wasted emotion. If something goes wrong, okay, who are we to think that life's supposed to be perfect? And what does a perfect life look like anyway? It ain't this. I wouldn't have if I was at the drawing board for Dom, I wouldn't have drawn this. But hey, this is what I got. It works out. Thank God for cowboy boots. But it allows you to be more developed, to be seasoned, to be comfortable with yourself on videos, comfortable with yourself on audio, comfortable with yourself in every aspect of your life. And when you're comfortable with you, guess what? Other people are comfortable with you. Are you guys more comfortable with me at this moment than you were when I first stepped up here? Yeah. Hands down. Why? Because you know a little bit about me, right? I made you laugh. I made you smile. I made you think. If I would have kept going some of these stories, some of you would have cried. That I know. So I just try to, dip and come back up like a sound frequency. And I learned to communicate because I was K-9 in the military. And when you get deployed with a dog that your job is to search bombs, you don't have people around you. Like on TV, they show that. That's not really how it works. You get deployed and they're like, all right, you're a fire team, A, B, C, and D. You guys go that way. Dom, you and Clint, you just go that way. And you're out there in the desert with this dog and there's sand. The sand starts talking to you. So you start talking to the dog, long conversations, real long ones. And then I noticed body language. When I would say certain things, Clint would do this and then Clint would do this. And I'm not I'm not a dog whisperer, but I think dogs can hear us. Emotionally, they can. And I got comfortable talking because, and I noticed one day I was in North Africa, in Egypt, just outside Egypt. And I remember talking and I wasn't stuttering at all. And it dawned on me, the reason I wasn't stuttering is because I was talking to somebody without being judged. I was talking to an animal. I was talking to Clint, but he wasn't judging me. He was just being open and listening. So to become the obvious choice and to command presence, I just want you to be open and listen. Again, I'm Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. Have a fantastic day. Thank you, sir.